Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 37th. Is that right, Mitchell? 37th episode of Concerned Dabs podcast. I'm your host, Kady Kane. Missing in action tonight is my co-host, Will Terp. I do not know. He's on the East Coast out there doing something. It's probably late. He's probably doing the fam thing, or maybe he's flying out in the morning. Sad news also, ladies and gentlemen. I promoted this episode online, shared the flyer. My guest could not make it for whatever reason. I guess he's busy with the breeding stuff. Well, what can I do? There's nothing I can do about it, but I'm showing up every Sunday to broadcast to you folks. Trying to stay consistent no matter what, even if I'm by myself. So anybody who's tuning in and listening, I appreciate it. You know, like it means a lot to me. We're already booking our guest for next week. We're gonna have Lamar Jackson. He's a Warm Springs tribal member, and he's one of the guys that actually went door to door to get tribal member signatures for their cannabis referendum, which I think is very commendable for anybody to do that. You know, that shows that he cares a lot about the cause, and also understands the process of government enough to influence it on his own with him and his bros, and I think that's dope. I want to ask him some questions about that, and then he's also active in the cannabis community in Oregon. He works up there on the resort on the mountain, so he's about that snowboard ski life. I'm sure he has a bunch of cool stories about that, but I always see him post about being in certain locations in Portland, like the Northwest Cannabis Club and different shops. It makes me feel nostalgic and miss home. So I dig when he does stuff like that, and I'm excited to interview him next. Um, I also wanted to let everyone know that I'm Idaho right now with the production bros. I flew in for a week to come and visit some. I'll be back in Phoenix next week to broadcast for that episode. But if anybody out here is listening, I'm gonna be at my mom's for a couple days. Let's smoke something, man. Yeah, it should be cool. And that's another short story I want to share too. I flew into Spokane, stayed at my old lady's last night. She had some rack nugs. So I was just like, yeah, boy. Some of that evergreen state. So I brought a couple jars down with me, and I was rolling up at the table before I showed up at my mom's house. And it's like she was in the kitchen watching TV or something. After like 5 minutes, she came in the kitchen and was like, "It smells like a skunk in here." And then she saw what I was doing on the paper plate, and she was, "Oh." She just went back to watching TV, so sorry, mom. I try to be quick, try to be fast. Put it back in the package. Um, anyways, I'm bummed out. Short Sleeve Magician couldn't make it. Like, hopefully we can get him to come back in the future. Uh Man, I wanna ask him about his breeding projects. Sounds like he's picking some winners too, man, like that, jailbird and then the prison sex, dude. Shout out for those beans too, I appreciate that. I'm gonna definitely take photos and put the hashtag in there when I crack those. I should be back in motion in a couple months, man. I'm looking forward. Was doing some measuring to, check out the room I'm gonna be in. It's gonna be ill. I'm gonna do LEDs and all that, man. Like it's gonna be ill. Some experimentation with some tried and true methods. Um, as far as content or subject matter today, we don't really have much. I got a couple jars from the store that I just wanted to read the packaging and talk about some of those things. It's not like a strain review, but I just feel like that information is cool because there's way less information on the package in Arizona. Like on the label, there's no lab test, there's no terpene profile analysis. Like, so it's cool to see those things on the product here and in this place I'm here in the Northwest. Um, So when I was talking to my bro Mitchell earlier today, he was like, "Dude, there's somewhere is like just legalized or is starting sales." We found on the Normal website, shout out to Normal, that in Illinois, retail marijuana sales begin next week. So everybody out there in Chi-Town can go to the store and grab some nugs, which I think is dope. It says people can grab up to 30 grams of cannabis if you're over 21. If you're visiting from out of state, you can only buy 15 grams of cannabis. I don't understand the stipulation there, but I mean, maybe they want you to smoke it before you go home and not take half of it back home to sell to your buddies. I don't know. Seems kind of micromanagement to me, but who am I to say? You know, that's the government's. It says an estimated 30 retailers in the state are now licensed to engage in adult use marijuana. Mitchell, can you look up how many people live in the state of Illinois? So it's like if there's 30 retailers, 30 retailers, they're probably most of them are in the major metropolis areas, but it seems like that's a small state too as far as surface area. How many? 12.74? Fuck, damn. That's a lot. So yeah, those guys, those 30 stores are gonna cake up for that first week, man. Um, yeah. So what else does it say? The law also enacts several other changes. Specifically, it permits qualified patients for the first time to engage in the home cultivation of up to 5 plants while decriminalizing home grows for non-patients. That is legit, you know? Like they did it right there. I appreciate Illinois for letting people grow their own and not going after people who are, you know, not it's like, so what a guy has a light in his basement and he has 4 or 5 plants, like, that guy is not hurting anyone. He's paying more money to the utility company for the power that he's using, and he's being extra safe in and out of his house, you know, like, he's not doing no dumb shit. He's a good upstanding, so it's cool that they're not going after those guys anymore. The law also establishes procedures for the automatic expungement of low-level minor convictions up to 30 grams and, and facilitates a process for the expungement of cases involving the possession of up to 500. So that's dope. I don't think that setting a weight limit on that is cool though, because that means you have a process. If you got caught with a pound or less, then there's a process for you to get your felony expunged. But if you had more than a pound, 2 pounds or more, then you're fucked and it's on your record. You know, I don't think that's fair. Hopefully they can tweak that one a little bit and make some changes to that. Um, Illinois is the 11th state to legalize adult marijuana use, and it is the first state to legislatively enact a comprehensive regulatory scheme governing commercial production and sale. Okay, so that is also cool. In pretty much every other state that went medical or went rec, it's like every other state, the people had to do it. You know, you had to go and get signatures on a petition, and that would help you get it on the ballot, and then people would vote. And it's like that happened like 5 or 6 times in all the others. So it's like then it finally passed. So for Illinois to skip that whole shit, man, and everybody who's in office to just say, "Hey, we see this happening around the country. Let's just make it happen in our state." I think that's very cool of them. Very, very dope. Um, Also, one of the questions that Mitchell had for me was, what kind of advice would you give to someone who's gonna go to the store for the first time in Chicago? Um, if you're in Illinois and it's your first time, you should Google the terms indica and sativa. and then think about what kind of effects you want from the weed based off the definition of those two. In a nutshell, I'd say indica is nighttime, sativa is day. So you know, relax and chill or stay awake, do shit. Um, but also think about stuff that you like as far as food or smell. I don't know how extensive the menus are gonna be at these 30 locations, but hopefully some of the West Coast homies moved out there to set up and they got some dope genetics. But there if it's your first time in a weed store, man, like there's all different kinds of weed. And there's weed that smells like oranges, there's weed that smells like lemon, grapes, cake, gasoline, coffee, chocolate, cantaloupe, like whatever kind of terpene profile that floats your they might have something like that at the store. So try to keep these things in mind, and your phone is your best friend in this situation. Like I'm assuming that if it's the first week, the people behind the counter might not be as knowledgeable as someone else in a rec state that's been open for a few years. So having information on your own and being able to ask questions and I don't know if Leafly or Weed Maps is out there, but you can even look up the menu for the store before you get. So it's like that shit is convenient. Like I just we're living in an awesome time right now. It's like you can look up what you want and then just go and grab it, and it's not illegal. So I hope some of those options are available to the people in Illinois. And then also for any first timers too, um, check out some edibles and dose lightly. But I mean, have an idea of what you want before you go in there. That's what I try and do. Otherwise, you'll be in there for a while, and you might get some things that might not work best for you. You know what I mean? So if you have an idea of what you want, you can go and check it out and have something in mind. And it's good for the salespeople and it's good for you. Okay, we got a message from Mitchell here. This is via ktla.com. Um, Marijuana plants at alleged illegal cultivation sites in Anza, Riverside County. Sheriff's deputies have served search warrants at sites of alleged illegal marijuana cultivation. The department says 3,957 marijuana plants and 57 pounds of processed marijuana were seized in Monday's operation in the rural Anza area, about 100 miles southeast of Los Angeles. Damn, that sucks. That's 4,000 plants. That's a fucking big ass grow. I wonder if that was indoor or outdoor. 100 miles southeast must have been maybe one of those forest grows or something like that. I'd met guys who done that in Oregon. It's usually like well, one of them was a SA homie and he was a super gangster, so I wasn't trying to offend. Like just the number on his packs were not competitive with prices that I got from medical growers already in the city. So I just had to be like, nah, dude, it's cool. Like this weed is nice, but I'm cool. I don't wanna grab those for that. But like that dude was doing it big outside like that. Like I don't think he was carded with everything, but whatever, man. If you got the balls, I'm not gonna hate on anybody, but fuck, that's a big ass L. Like if you have 4,000 plants and 57 packs get seized, that's a pretty big L. I don't care how flooded it is or what that shit is worth. Like like that sucks, man. So medical rec, legal or black market, I still feel bad for those guys. Um, sucks, man. Sad day out there in Anza today. Um, what else was like? Okay, so in South Dakota, it says they have medical cannabis initiative certified for the 2020. So I think that's cool, step in the right direction. It doesn't sound like the people in office there are gonna do the Illinois thing, move shit through. Man, dude, that's why I want to talk to Lamar about his tribe because it was a few years ago they got their referendum passed on their reservation, and their um their tribal government is just dragging their feet. Like their leadership isn't still hasn't done anything about it really. I'd like to hear what he has to say about that process, and I don't know, it's frustrating because it's like, hey, we voted for it. Hey, yeah, it passed. Why can't we take part in this? You know, it's a bummer. Oh yeah, okay. So scored some rec nugs up there in Spokane. Shout out to Lucky Leaf. We got some GMO, the GMO cookies. It's like the farm is called Exotics. Um, so this packaging is rec packaging. It's got the label with the 21. The warning said this product has intoxicating effects and may be habit forming. Smoking is hazardous to your health. There may be health risks associated with consumption of this. Should not be used by women that are pregnant or breastfeeding. For use only by adults 21 and keep out of reach of children. Marijuana can impair concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence of this drug. This product has intoxicating effects and may be habit forming. This product may be unlawful outside of Washington. So, cool, effective warning there. Shout out to Exotics. Like that was the bleezy we fired up before the show was the GMO, and I feel nice and relaxed, man. I was kind of nervous. I'm like, oh man, like I've been in trouble out here before for nugs, so I'm not sweating it anymore. Should be cool. This other, I dig this. It's like a glass jar. Um, really super dope packaging. The glass lid. It looks like a tube or something for an amplifier, which I think is. But the farm is Blue Roots Cannabis Company. Violet Flame is the strain. It says it's Purple Urkel by White Fire 43. Caryophyllene is the main dominant terpene. It's got some myrcene, limonene, humulene, B-pinene, ocimene, and terpinolene. Similar, maybe habit forming warning. If you want to check these guys out, you can go to www.bluerootscannabis.com. I'm actually gonna hit up their website and see what's good after the show. I was impressed with this stuff too. Shout out to my lady for grabbing me some nugs for Christmas. Knowing I was gonna come up here and visit, I really appreciate it. Really happy with the selection and the flavor that I'm able to consume up here in the great Northwest. I can't wait to be back, folks. Okay. So got a couple more articles from Mitchell. Shout out to Mitchell in production. He's the man. Um Says this is from KFOR.com. Organizers file petition for state question to legalize recreational marijuana in Oklahoma. The petition will need nearly 178,000 signatures to put the issue on the November 2020. It's been a little over a year since Oklahoma patients began applying for medical marijuana licenses, and state officials say hundreds of thousands of Oklahomans have taken part in the program. The proposed ballot measure, which is labeled as State Question 806, would allow for the personal use of marijuana by adults. December 16th, the Oklahoma Secretary of State will set the date for a signature gathering to begin, and supporters will then have 90 days to collect the required number of signatures in order to qualify for the. So, anybody from Oklahoma, just because you got your medical card and everything, like your work is not. You should also sign that petition for rec. You know, for certain reasons, and I understand this more as I got older. Certain people don't want to get a medical card because their name is then entered into a system or a computer. They just don't want their name in that box due to the job that they have. Either maybe they're an attorney, or maybe they're like a school administrator, principal or something like. Um, they don't want to necessarily be in a database saying that they're a consumer of this, since there's still a negative stigma associated with it. So I feel like rec is a good thing for those folks because they can just go anonymously into a store and grab what they need, not have to feel too intruded upon. Like, one time I was at the front desk at Kings of Canna, and it was an attorney from, I think he was from Chicago, and he just was grilling me and would not give me his ID, and I'm just like, okay, dude, I dig what you're saying. You know what I mean? But it's not my show. I still have to see your ID and enter it into this computer if you want to walk through that door. Like, I'm not the owner. If I was, I dig what you're saying enough to just let you through, dude. But it's not my thing. So these are the rules. I gotta follow these to be compliant. He left me alone after a while, but that's kind of what he said too. Is he didn't want to be in a database and have his name um out there. Um, yeah, good job finding that article, Mitch. I think that I don't know what the climate is like in Oklahoma, but I have a couple of friends on my Facebook feed. It looks like they're doing some nice in medical patients, of course. But that's the thing is I want everybody to be able to grow their own. Cause then it's like, man, the game will just further itself so much more. Everybody will be able to make seeds and trade. Like, that's just I want all of my homies to have some plants going, and I want all of us to trade nugs when we're done harvesting. You know what I mean? It'll be an excellent world to live in when we can do stuff like that. And everybody will like the whole R&D situation of getting to sample stuff that you haven't tried before is just the best, man. It helps you find stuff that you and stuff that you wouldn't have normally tried. If your homie has some weird taste and he grew something real funky and he's like, "Ooh, let me try that. Let's try." And you like it, then it's cool. Your palate has broadened a bit. Now you and your homie can breed with that, trade cuts, or just trade nugs when you take plants down. Like, it just sounds like a really cool way to live, man. That's the shit I'm trying to sell. Um, okay, so we got some more stuff from Florida here. This is via bizjournals.com. Florida recreational marijuana petition reaches next step for 2020 ballot. A ballot initiative to make recreational marijuana legal in Florida has hit the required verified signature total for judicial review. Make It Legal Florida's, that must be the name of the campaign. Make It Legal Florida proposed amendment made it over the 76,632 signature threshold, which is one of the first steps to make it onto the 2020 ballot. The initiative is backed financially by medical marijuana companies in the areas such as MedMen and Parallel, formerly known as Surterra Well. Okay, so that's from November 14th. That's dope. So to everybody in Florida too, man. Like, make sure that they write it the right way. Like, I lived in Oregon for like 8 years, and I feel like I voted for weed like 5 different times. And the reasons that it failed the first couple of times is because it wasn't written correct. It didn't say that you could cultivate your own if it was going to be recreationally available. So that it failed until it finally said that you could pour plants. Then everybody was like, yes. But in Washington, that's not the way it happened. Everybody just saw legal weed on the ballot and voted yes without reading the extra sentence. And the extra sentence said that you could cultivate your own as an adult in Washington, which sucks, man. You know what I mean? You can still get your card, but like forcing people to go to the store like that, I mean, I guess maybe the state's trying to generate revenue. Like, no, we're not make them buy retail and pay tax. There's always going to be people that are going to do that anyway. I think forcing people who would like to cultivate their own, not the way, man. And it in the future, Washington government, it's going to get really competitive, and this is going to be it could be a commodity for your state or it could not. And if you want to stifle that, if you want to stifle innovation by overregulation, that's your call to make, but I would want my state to be the cream of the crop, you know what I mean? Like the top 20%. It's like, nah, we're doing all kinds of shit. We're creative and we're business minded and we like what we do. So I think that you should allow those people to do that, especially if they're sticking to a good set of principles, you know? Like there's a lot of questionable shit out there, but I guess it's all relative to your experience and your background. A lot of the genetic sequencing stuff I don't like. I know it's going to happen anyway, but I think that people who are just growing stuff at home and making seed should be allowed to do that and encouraged to do that. You know, that's my stance on that. Um, what do we got left, Mitchell? 4 more minutes. I don't know if I can go for a full hour since I'm riding solo. Do we have anybody listening on YouTube, Mitchell? That's cool. Shout out to anybody listening in YouTube. I love you. All right, cool, man. We got our core. All right. Yeah, shout out to you folks. I love you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Um I don't have too much else to talk about. Um Maybe we can I want to try and find a guy who's rec or who's going kind of large, who's using uh, low emission diode lights instead of high pressure. So I feel like interviewing one of those guys would be dope. I know that Joshua Steensland has used those before, but I didn't ask him about that aspect of it totally. So maybe we could get him back on the. He's super smart, but I'm trying to rig up a tent in a couple months, man. I'm gonna use LEDs because I don't have a lot of power in the location I'm at. In order to conserve power, I'm gonna grab one. I'm trying to look up which one I want to grab. We got another article. This is dated December 27th. Was that Friday? Yeah, Massachusetts marijuana shops report 420 million in sales in 2019. What a nice round number, Mitch. 420 million. That's a dope sales figure for the state of Massachusetts, and that's a lot of money that their government's gonna be able to fund some cool shit with. 420 million in sales in the first full calendar year of legalization. That's dope. That's where Will's at right now, right? Is that where he's broadcasted from? Massachusetts. So Will contributed to that nice round number. Him and his folks. That's dope. I wish shit. I wish we had him on the show. He'd have some cool shit to talk about. I saw him post his little. He always brings some Oregon dabs with him. So he's like, I'm sure everybody out there is, whoa, this shit is fire. And it's like, yeah, man. Yeah, it is, man. It is. That Echo Electro is the truth. Shout out to Regan. We need you on the show, Regan. Holler at you. Um, so what else we got on Massachusetts? Says they impose roughly 17% to 20% in taxes on marijuana, including a 6.25% sales tax, a 10.75% excise tax, and an optional local tax of up to 3%. Damn, that sounds like California. So it's like, it's so 20, 6.25 is included. Wait, all that stuff is included. 16, 17, 3. Okay, yeah. I get, I guess That's a lot though, I think 20% to tax something. Most sales tax in most states is like 10 cents or less, right? Or 10% or less. It's like 8 in Idaho. I think it's 8 in Arizona. Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot. When I went to Cali for that film festival, like dude, it was way expensive. It was like 50 bucks. What's that? It was like 25, 30%. And I like it was 50 bucks for an eighth that was really not that great looking, you know? And it like it was just dark. It smelled old. Maybe it was just the sample that was on the shelf. But I asked it was yeah, dude, because I was like, how much of that 50 is tax? And I'm pretty sure it was like 15, 16 bucks. You know, like the actual eight was like 32, $33 and the rest was tax. Brought it to 50. I'm like, fuck, that's insane. Like for an ounce of weed, it was like 4.50 in Cali. I'm like, dude, that's you know what I mean? Like that's insane. Like that's too much. I don't think it's worth that. And then that other yeah, well yeah, but then I talked when we were talking to Jackson, was that last I think that was last week. Was it? No, it was a couple weeks ago. That there was an article that Mike Diesel posted about 80% of the weed in California is illegally, like black market. Like only 20% is rec shops. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And it was saying that's why. So I'm like, damn, that's shout out to the BM in Cali for sticking to it. And because I mean, dude, like if you had a whole warehouse grow and it's like you're getting loot and you want to be legit, but then you look at the application, what it entails, and you know, most guys are like, "Fuck that, I'm not doing that. Just stick with this. I've been getting money. It's gonna work. It'll be all right." Uh, Massachusetts became the first East Coast state with regulated recreational marijuana stores when two opened on November 20th, 2018. More than 30 marijuana retailers have been licensed to operate in the state, along with dozens of other businesses approved to cultivate, manufacture, and test marijuana. That's dope. Sounds like they're moving along, man. And that's like a really tiny surface on the map, too, but it's probably really densely populated. Oh, well, we got some rapper shit here, too, Mitch. Dated December 24th from the Associated Press News.com. Rapper debate handcuffed, given pot citation after concert. Grammy nominated rapper DaBaby was handcuffed and cited on a misdemeanor marijuana charge in North Carolina hours after he performed a concert and gave away toys to son of a bitch. He gave away toys to children too, Mitchell. Like, god damn it. Let the man smoke. He's Santa Claus for Christmas. Don't write him a ticket. He's a good shout out to DaBaby, man. I'm sorry he had to go through that. Damn those North Carolina cops. Uh maybe J. Cole can write him a letter for sentencing, hook him up or something. J. Cole got pulled out there. um we're at 8:34 now. Shoot, ladies and gentlemen, I think that might be good enough. Trying to think of any closing thoughts or things I wanted to say. Um, if Lamar Jackson is listening, bro, we're trying to get you on the show next Sunday. I'm send you a flyer, hopefully tonight or tomorrow. Um, Will, hopefully you can be there for that. Short sleeve magician. If you got time scheduled, please hit me up, dude. We're on Sunday nights at 8. Um, And then anybody who can't do a Sunday night, if you really want to come on the show, we can do Wednesdays to pre-record, right, Mitchell? Still giving that option out. So it's like if you want to come on the show and spit your game, give us your spiel, but your Sunday nights are taken, either you got family stuff, then let's schedule it for a Wednesday and we'll just broadcast it live on a Sunday. We'll give the homies a night off. Those times are cool too. So I'll keep that in mind with coordination going forward. But yeah, that's what we got coming up. So I hope you guys tune in next week. And I'm gonna go ahead and do my outro dance. This was the 37th episode of Concerned Dabs podcast. I was your host, Kady M. Kane. MIA was my co-host, Will Turner. Should get him back next week. I got to give a shout out to my guys in production, Mitchell Wilson and Jesse Curry. This has been a Main Node and Joseph Street Enterprise production.